Penultimate match of the league stage. India taking on Sri Lanka at Headingley in Leeds. Also Australia playing South Africa. All to see who's going to be playing in which semi-final. But for now, we're at the halfway stage of India versus Sri Lanka, where we review it all on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. At one stage, we thought Sri Lanka maybe were going to get to no more than 175, 180 perhaps. But recovery was absolutely fantastic. Between 15th over Combox and the 35th over Combox, they did not lose a wicket. And that partnership between Thirimanne and Angelo Mathews, yes, he, the man for the moment, came up with a magic over in the last match they played. And here once again, doing the job with bat in hand. Sri Lanka needed somebody to step up, somebody to make sure that they finish the tournament on a high. And no matter what happens in terms of the end result, I've got Zach and Robin in the studio. I think they'll be happy with what they've put on the board, especially where they were.
Yeah, absolutely. I think given that situation where they were 55 for 4 in the 11th over, you thought that, man, 170, 180, possibly if someone can stitch up a partnership. But they stitched up more than just a partnership. Yeah? They really got out there and batted through the innings. And the wonderful thing about Angelo Mathews' innings is the fact that he actually batted till the 49th over. I think that's what helped them get to 264. At the Combox, we thought that 230, 240 is a possibility, but just the fact that he batted through to the end got them to 264.
And I think what you look at those follow wickets again, what would have hurt Sri Lanka more is the fact that there were 4 players, all of whom have done pretty decently with the bat. Kusal Perera is explosive, Karunaratne has been doing well, Kusal Mandis can be there throughout the innings, and then you find Avishka Fernando, all 4 gone. So you're suddenly thinking Thirimanne, who's playing in a new position, and again you're telling Mathews to put his hand up. But they did it.
Well, to start with, Bumrah was phenomenal. I think, with his new ball spell, that's something which really put Sri Lanka under pressure, and they were behind in the game. So for them to get out of that situation, a partnership was required, and someone needed to step up, which Mathews did. And he not only just stood up to the occasion, he actually made sure that Sri Lanka has got to a respectable total on this track, something which Sri Lanka can fight from. So that is the most important thing when you are in that kind of a situation and so much behind in the game, having lost half the team before the 15 overs have been bowled. So that's pretty much 70% of the innings still to go, and the only way to get out of that is someone playing this kind of a knock, which Mathews did brilliantly, and that's something which we've been talking right throughout the World Cup, isn't it? That the seniors and the experienced players stepping up, contributing, because the experience is what matters in these kind of situations, to absorb pressure and make sure that whoever you are batting with, in this case it was Thirimanne, to calm his nerves down and have that kind of communication in the middle, which just that takes a team out of a difficult situation. I still feel that 264 for India should be pretty much easy task to achieve. I felt maybe anywhere close to 290, 300 would have been a winning total on this kind of a surface. It's not that alarming. Wicket has played well, and it's also indicator of the fact that how well Indian bowlers have bowled on this track, particularly Hardik Pandya as well, with his into the wicket slower ones, understood the conditions well, and kept those middle overs in check.
Yeah, and you look at Bumrah, of course, Zaheer's mentioned, outstanding, absolutely. Hardik Pandya, once again contributing, bowling his 10 overs. The man who coming into the side, Jadeja, for the first time, 1 for 40. But the only 2 people who had a bit of an off day with 73 and 58 respectively, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Kuldeep Yadav, and as we've said so many times, he didn't have anybody to turn to, even for 1 or 2 overs, to relieve them.
Well, yeah, but when you're going with 5 bowlers, that is going to be the block, right? That's going to be the difficulty. When like for instance, someone like Bhuvi's had an off day, you don't have the luxury of stopping him at 7 overs and giving somebody else 3 overs to fill up. You don't have that luxury. But that's okay. He knows he's going in with those. Those are the cards that he has, and those are the cards that he'll play, and he's fine with that because he backs those 5 bowlers, which in some way is also a good thing for the bowlers. They know that irrespective of how the day goes, they gotta go out there and back themselves and bowl as well. And for instance, like yesterday's game where Mustafizur went for 40 runs in his first 5 overs, he comes back and picks up 5 wickets in the next 5. and gives the bowler a chance, right, to come back into the game as well. So I'm sure Bhuvi at the end of 7 overs must have backed himself to say, okay, let me see if I can at least rectify my first spell with something in the second. It didn't happen today. Seemed like he had an off day even on the field, and that can happen to anyone, and that's fine. But the others made up for him. I thought Hardik bowled really well. I think he's really understood what works for him and exactly how he wants to go about bowling, and it's working for him in these conditions. And Bhumi was just out there. It was a masterclass, so to speak, with the way he opened the bowling and the way he finished the bowling. And Jaddu stood out. Yeah, Jaddu really, the way he bowled. First 4 overs, he had given only 11 runs. Only when Thirumanne and Angelo Mathews attacked him a little bit in his second or third spell is when he went for a few runs. But right after then, he was just bowling really well.
Yeah, both Bumrah and Jadeja. But it's the task for the Sri Lankan middle order. The whole story of this World Cup had been Sri Lanka getting good starts. They've got aggression at the top. Then what happens? The middle order collapses. Today it was just the opposite. They had a collapse up front. You can see those first 4 wickets right up there, and then the repair job that was done to take them to a respectable total. And I think this is that 7.3 between 31 and 40 is what will satisfy them, because that was the area of concern in other games.
Well, yeah, also that was the area where they could have gotten runs, because they knew that that's the area that they needed a target, and you could see very consciously they were targeting those 10 overs when Kuldeep and Jadeja came into bowl. That was the phase when and I think it was in Jadeja's bowling that a catch was dropped in long on.
By Bhuvaneshwar?
Yeah, by Bhuvi. I think it was Angelo Mathews, if I'm not wrong. And it was after that he went on to score 100. But, in that phase is when they decided to get aggressive, because they read the situation where they felt the spinners would be bowled off by 40 and then the fast bowlers would finish off the last 10. And that is exactly what happened. So they read it right, and they played that phase of the game really well.
What they also did was, when Bhuvaneshwar Kumar came back for his second spell, they knew he was having an off day, and Mathews went down the pitch and attacked him immediately. So they were playing smart, knowing where the little chinks in the opposition might lie.
Well, I felt that Bhuvaneshwar, there was a reason behind Bhuvaneshwar having an off day. So when you have in-form bowling attack, which you will be facing as a team, you look at that bowling attack and say, okay, if we have to get to a winning total or put up a really good total, what are our options? And in that you would feel that, okay, Bumrah, most of the teams are going defensive. You expect Bumrah to come at hard at you. You expect Bumrah to be that wicket-taking impact bowler from the opposition. So you have to be watchful. You don't want him to give him to get in that game with that kind of a mindset and having upper hand in the match. So you go in as opponents. Being Bumrah as your bowler who you're going to be cautious against. Then you have wrist spin. You saw with England as well. England actually had a plan of attacking spinners. They not only went after Kuldeep, they went after Chahal as well. Yeah. So that was a part of batting plan. Here, that Hardik has also been in good form. So he's using those overs very smartly, using his options very smartly. So you may not be able to put pressure on Hardik. So that leaves one of the bowlers to be targeted or to be taken chances. Now in these kind of scenarios, either the bowler who opposition is trying to target walks away with bags full of wickets, or the opposition is successful on that particular day, and you see what happened today. So Bhuvaneshwar was stuck in that kind of a pattern today. A catch dropped on his bowling early on has not helped that cause. Otherwise, the plan would have been completely different. You would have seen Bhuvi ending up with more wickets, because the opposition has decided that, okay, no matter what, we are going to go after him, and that at times works in your favor as a bowler, and at times you have a tough day like how Bhuvaneshwar Kumar has had today.
Also had a couple of games off, because Shami obviously wasn't their first choice bowler at the start of the tournament. Then Shami comes in and Bhuvi misses out a few games, so that could have also played a factor now that he's playing without Shami in there.
Well, not necessarily. Remember in the last, I think discussion that we had after the India's previous game, we said maybe Shami would be the one who will miss out and Bhuvi will be the one who played because he played well in that game. So I just think it's an off game. It happens to anyone. I think he came out there with good intent. He was swinging the ball up front, both in and away to the left-hander and to the right-hander. So he's bowling well. I just think like Zakbai had, I think he hit the nail on the head, and he kind of called it right when he said that on some days it goes in your favor, on certain other days it doesn't. It was just one of those days for him.
But one box India ticked well was the back 10. I mean, with 5 wickets in hand, with Angelo Mathews in 3 figures, Thisara Pereira to come, it could just have gone wrong in those last few overs. Have a look at it, 64 for 2 right at the back end, and that could have been 80-90.
Well, I think on the whole, it was a decent bowling effort, because you judge a bowling performance based on what's the kind of power on that particular wicket. And today's wicket is certainly of 285, 90, 295, that kind of a range. If opponents have batted well, they could have gone to say 310, 315. That's the kind of margins you have. You set the tone of the match by picking those early wickets, which has helped create that kind of a platform on a good track. I did feel that the wicket is really good to bat on. Yes, the ball has been stopping a little, but that has been the case right now in England in the last week, 10 days. That's been the pattern of wickets playing in a particular manner. It will slow down further, there is no doubt about that. So for that you need that cushion. So India already has that cushion. India has that cushion of say 30 runs, which on a given day you are chasing that many less. So as a bowling unit on the whole, they have done a job. It was an even contest after those 4 wickets being down. There's some good batting display. There's some good temperament shown by Mathews and Thirumanne, which got them in a situation. But Indian team would go back in this break saying, okay, fine, we've done a decent job. They have played some good cricket after we got that early breakthroughs, and we are still chasing a below par score. So with our batting lineup, we should be able to chase. That should be the talk among the dressing room in that break. And as usual, you need your top 3 to set that tone. Like how your bowlers set that tone in your bowling innings, like in batting innings, you would expect batsmen can take bit more time and then set the tone for the remaining of the match. As you know, bowlers have been going defensive as the game goes along, say 15-20 overs. If you are in decent situation, then the pressure falls back onto the bowling side. From Sri Lanka's side, it's going to be Malinga. So that's one factor which Indian team will have to deal with. Otherwise, it should be an easy chase.
Yes, he's had a minimum of 3 wickets in every victory that they've had in the tournament so far. A little bit like Mustafizur Rahman. There was a stat the other day, when he takes 3 or more wickets, Bangladesh generally wins the game. Of course, there can be exceptions to that, and we saw that against Pakistan. But let's head centre stage. We talk about chatter in the dressing room, but what about chatter outside the dressing room? There's only one man who keeps an eye on everything that's going on. Danish, centre stage.
All right, ma'am, what do you want to do in front of the camera?
Just shout out loud.
Don't do that. This is not that show. Hey guys, my name is Danish and this is Centre Stage on Cricbuzz. We're here at the Headingley in Leeds for India versus Sri Lanka. And 2 iconic players are going to be taken to the field. One of them is celebrating his birthday tomorrow and the other might just be playing his last World Cup game. MS Dhoni, Lasith Malinga. Let's go out there and ask people what wishes they have for them. Brother, it is MS Dhoni's birthday tomorrow. What wish do you have for him?
We want to see him make 100 today.
Hey, his birthday, man. What your wish? You wish him.
I don't know.
You say happy birthday to someone's birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Dhoni. And we want you to play another year for India. And we want you to have another baby boy.
What a typical Indian parent. Madam, it's MS Dhoni's birthday. What wish do you have for him?
Happy birthday, Amazon. It's a very great app. Keep running, stay ahead, keep successing.
Cut, 1 second. Why are you talking about the Amazon app?
Amazon brand.
Are you selling stuff here?
No.
It's MS Dhoni's birthday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
ये क्या आप MS धोनी के लिए केक लेके आए हो?
हाँ, केक, फाफड़ा, इडली, डोसा सभी लेके आया बेंगलोर से.
वेरी गुड. कल MS धोनी का बर्थडे है. क्या विश है आपका उनके लिए?
आज 100 मारेंगे
हाँ.
और बेस्ट ऑफ लक.
ये हैप्पी बर्थडे बोलना, बर्थडे उनका.
हैप्पी बर्थडे धोनी, हैप्पी बर्थडे.
I wish you a very, very happy birthday, Dhoni. I wish you have a healthy, happy life ahead, and may you play much well ahead and do not get retired that early. You're too young to get retired, so please go ahead and keep playing.
Can I have my mic back, man?
Of course you can.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, that's it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Now, ma'am, I just want to ask you this. We've seen Dhoni over the years on TV, right? Is there anything that you've learned from him?
His patience,
Compassion.
Happy birthday to dear MS Dhoni. Happy birthday to you.
I feel he's very calm during a storm. He knows how to handle pressure, and that's something that I can take away from my career, is to handle pressure very well. So that's one thing I learned from him.
May God bless you. May God bless you.
I think just the way he is so calm and equanimous in front of everyone, and just the stories that you hear about MS Dhoni from Chennai supporters, he's that way when the camera is not on him as well. So that's something quite crazy.
Birthday to you. Dhoni lived for many long years ago.
Lasith Malinga, it could be his last World Cup, and he is so loved in India. What message do you have for Lasith Malinga?
we wish him all the best. We will see him in IPL next year, maybe as a fan of Mumbai Indians.
If you look at his start and the way he has, his journey, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of the, most inspiring journeys for a Sri Lankan.
He flew between a provincial Sri Lankan tournament, from playing Mumbai Indians to playing Gaul SC,
And he
right?
got wickets both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
And he was equivalent. So he showed that he's not tired, he's not worn out, he's willing to go for it. So
he will be missed by everyone, and we want to. Being an Indian, I can't say that Sri Lanka should win, but he should perform well today. That's what I'm expecting.
Some beautiful messages for these two stalwarts from the fans here outside the stadium. I do know there's another stalwart sitting inside the studio, and last time on Cricbuzz Live, he gave me this message.
Tanish, we need more women on your interviews, bro. You only go and interview men. We need more women to be interviewed as well.
Robbie, this is for you. What message do you have for Robbie?
Hi, Robin. How are you? We love your dosas. And your aunt's a great singer.
That's Uthappa and Uthup. This is Robin Uthappa. What message do you have for him?
Okay, Alex.
Well, we got half of it right. We got the wish to have Tanish interacting with a few of the ladies, but I think they got something else a bit wrong.
What did they get?
They were maybe heading to have a bite to eat.
Who were?
The ladies.
You guys will have to update me with the
So
backstory.
basically what happened was he had this show where he went around asking people questions, and 99% of the people that he asked questions were men, and there was just one woman, I think, that he asked questions. I said, listen, it's too lopsided, be equal,
So we sent him that message.
Yeah.
So he's started.
So basically then I think he interviewed
He's
someone.
found the balance right.
Yeah, and then he purposely made someone, he purposely asked someone questions about me. A message for Robin, basically.
Yeah.
So thanks, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there we go. We've got the messages coming in from Headingley. Well done. Centre stage is always so much fun. But in terms of India, well, they've got their task cut out, even though Zaheer Khan is of the opinion that it's a fairly simple task. And you'll have to say that you're saying 290 is a kind of par total. But let's remind everyone that we were not going for 290 when we had made our predictions. The My 11 Circle expert couch, we were ranging from the 230s to the 280s, and the gentleman who sat on the fence is actually sitting on the My 11 Circle expert couch. I just picked a figure right in between. Sometimes it's comfortable to do that, isn't it?
No, sometimes
Hedge your bets.
Sometimes it takes a little longer to know that what color blue you're wearing.
Right. That's what it's always coming down to.
So we got the color of the blue right.
So we'll know, depending on who wins or who doesn't win, which color of the blue it is.
Good for India. I'm already saying good for India. You wore this.
Color is
So
good
it's a
for
Sri
India.
Lankan blue, is it?
Yeah.
It's more Sri Lankan blue.
More Sri Lankan. What are the flowers? Flowers are Sri Lankan?
Flowers are grey.
Yeah.
Everything's Sri Lankan. Okay, everyone's saying that everything is Sri Lankan, so therefore I Sri Lanka basically has no chance of winning this game, which is what we feel from a cricketing perspective as well. But let's talk about India's big three. And no matter what, whether you're talking about a 220 total, 280 total or 330 total, you still want the big three to perform. And their record against Sri Lanka in ODIs, absolutely phenomenal. Look at the averages of all three: Kohli, Rohit, MS Dhoni, strike rates and the runs that they've put on.
Well, I think Rohit Sharma is who they'd really want to pick early, because in his conversion rate out there has been phenomenal. If he's got 800s and 1150s against them, then you know that he's dangerous for them in case he gets himself in. And I think that's going to be the case for India in this World Cup. You want Rohit Sharma to come good for you, and that's when you know for a fact, because he has to also make up for the absence of Shikhar, because just the way Shikhar plays at the top of the order, how dynamic he is on top and how he takes the bowlers on in the first 10 overs. So it'll be critical for India's success that Rohit bats through for India in the first 35 overs at least. So I think he will be critical to India's success in this game as well. So will Virat and so will MS. But I think to start off the first 10 overs, it'll be very critical for India, for Rohit to bat well and make sure he's there at the end of the 20th over.
But 31 to 40 was Sri Lanka's high point today. They really stepped on the gas. They had that partnership going and they took it into that back 10. But for India, if anything, areas of concern, we've looked at the last couple of games, it's been losing key wickets at that phase, particularly around 39th, 40th over. And we've put together the wickets between 31 and 40. Particularly look at West Indies, England, Bangladesh, and the wickets of Kohli, Pant and Kohli respectively at that key stage when you're just about to launch into the back 10.
Also, you have to take into consideration what kind of wickets they were playing on and what kind of platform it was set at that stage, with how many wickets to go. So that is something which we have seen in the World Cup, that wickets have been on the slower side. At times you had to grind it out, and you have to analyze the situation where you're looking to get 130, 140 in that last 15 overs, or you're just looking to say aim 90 runs and end up getting more. That's something which was the calculation which always goes on. What I really like from the other number which was showing about Rohit Sharma against Sri Lanka. Actually, he had completely contrasting numbers earlier on. He for some weird reason he was not averaging that well against Sri Lanka, and he was getting out against Sri Lanka in his early stage in his career. So that 59 average right now is a very deceptive number. So he had to score a lot many runs to get that average balance to 59, and that is something which says that how he had taken it to Sri Lanka just to change that number. He had been really ruthless with them in the last couple of years or so to really reverse that number. So that number is going to be a worry for Sri Lanka going forward right now in this innings. Also, Virat Kohli has been very comfortable facing Malinga. If you look at that matchup, Virat Kohli is winning hands down. So that's something which will play on Malinga's mind as well. The mighty Malinga might have some concerns when he's bowling to Virat if they get an early breakthrough. Rahul has been taking more time. But you're right about the middle overs. That's something which India should look to work on this innings, just simply because they have the luxury. They know that if they get that start, they can up that ante in the middle overs. Getting batting practice to someone like Dinesh Karthik, who has not had that many matches in the World Cup, is not a bad idea. So maybe pushing Pant down, getting Dinesh Karthik up, or Mahendra Singh Dhoni up to play those middle overs may not be a bad idea, but it will be completely condition driven and the situation driven. For India to make any experimentation with regard to changing that tempo in the overs which we are talking about and the numbers which we have put, they need to have that platform. they can only do those kind of changes and experimentation if they are doing it from the position of strength. If you've not got the start which you're really looking for, and say Malinga has another great outing of World Cup since the time he is playing his last World Cup match, he might be fired up. If he is having the same kind of momentum and the run which he had in the World Cup, then you may have to alter the plan and stick to the original plan of batting order. But other than that, I think that area of concern and something which Indian team can looking at semi-final, changing in this match or trying, then yes, that one passage of play will certainly be on the batting lineup's mind.
Ruthless is a good word that Zaheer used, and that's the kind of thing you'd expect from Rohit. 400s, could it be 5?
Well, we all hope for it to be 5, and we all hope for it to be 8 by the end of the tournament. But
7 technically. Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Why not? One could be a double 100, so we'll count it as
well, it still counts as 100. It still counts as 100. Yeah.
You got to try. A man's got to try.
Yeah. One day they'll change the rules where 200s, double 100 counts as 200. But for the moment, of course, if anyone can, Rohit can. But remember, we talked about the 2 games. Are you going to Old Trafford? Are you going to Edgbaston? Now, we were taking it for granted that Australia will brush aside South Africa, India will brush aside Sri Lanka, so it'll stay as it is. India in Birmingham, Australia in Old Trafford. But things might just be different. Have a look at the update in the game between South Africa and Australia at Old Trafford. Now, the question is, are Australia going to hang on and stay there? Because of the start, South Africa have got Quinton de Kock on fire, 41 of 37, and it all set the stage with the very first over, some 16 or 17 runs of Mitchell Starc, including 5 wides. And I think when you have that kind of a start, you're really almost thinking that India win this match, and maybe you get to Old Trafford. Australia have to go to Birmingham to play England.
Control the controllables. I don't think they'll think about, what's happening in the other game. They'll just try and win this game and leave the rest to, wherever those cards kind of fall, right? So I think they'll just focus on what they need to do. And rightfully so, yeah. I think, even I think, as you even look at South Africa and Australia, that game, I'm thinking even if South Africa score 300, 320, do they have the bowling to contain an inform Australian batting lineup? Doesn't seem likely given current state of affairs.
Fair enough, but that's what everyone is playing for. And just a reminder that we, of course, will be wrapping up everything to do with India versus Sri Lanka. And when the last ball is bowled off Australia-South Africa from Old Trafford, we too will have a special show to wrap it all up, because that's the last league game of the entire World Cup. So we're all going to be on the ball here. A long day, but we want you to all be part of us. 15th over, Cricbuzz Combox to see where India and Sri Lanka are at that stage. And then again, at the end of the game, firstly, at the end of the India-Sri Lanka game, My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.